All right. Hey there, everybody. Let me get adjusted here. All right. I am going live here on YouTube on around noon on Monday, February 3rd. Uh, and I guess I guess things here in the United States are going about what we thought, how they thought they would. Today is, of course, Tariffs Day, as everybody freaks out about what Trump is going to do or not do in terms of crashing the economy. In the meantime, we have a psychotic man-child Elon Musk rampaging through the government, settling personal vendettas against entire lawfully established U.S. agencies, and gleefully destroying government, I guess, to show that he can. Which is just an absolute outrage. And in the meantime, uh, as I continue harping on, the Democratic response has been less than robust, which is infuriating. So anyway, I wanted to jump on here. It's been a little while. It's the one of the weirdest, most disorienting things about this moment of real grave constitutional crisis in our country is that, of course, everyday life goes on. My main job is to be stay-at-home dad, and so you keep doing things like taking care of the house and taking the kids to soccer, and uh, thinking about where we're going to go for spring break, or whatever. And but in the meantime, we're like, hmm, maybe we should, make those purchases now for the kitchen remodel that we're going to get into this year. Or maybe I should have, I should be stockpiling some things here at the house in case, there are the tariffs go through and there are shortages or whatever. I mean, it's this is a crazy way to live, and yet here we are. So it is pretty disorienting. Last week, it was really good for me to get out and protest. That was last Thursday, I think. I was so uh, infuriated by the spending freeze that happened last week. That was luckily eventually stopped by the courts, rightfully so. And I texted my awesome friend Tiffany Rombalski over in Hilliard, and I said, "Look, I'm going to be out on the corner of Broad and Cleveland with a sign tomorrow at 3. Join me if you want." And she said, "Absolutely," because she feels the same way. And it was, we had about 40 people or so at one point. And it was something. It was definitely great to get out there, raise our voices, to meet other people who are equally outraged, but also equally confused about exactly what to do. But to raise our voices, to let people know that we are not just going to roll over and take this quietly. It seems like there is uh, a national effort, or there has been a national call to meet up this week. 50 states, 50 protests, one day. The organization of this is decentralized, to say the least, but I will be down at the Ohio State House this Wednesday, February 5th at noon, with a sign. And I'm pretty sure that there are going to be other people there, and we will continue to raise our voices and insist that our elected leaders take action to stop what is happening, to stop Musk in particular. Now has to be our focus, to stop him from destroying our government and running amok and doing whatever he wants. The tariffs thing is interesting. I mean, sort of a classic Trump thing. Um, Throwing. Putting businesses on edge, shaking the foundations of the global international trade order, attacking our very, very closest allies, with whom we have just now an unbreakable web of relationships and economics and trade. And so he certainly got everyone to pay attention. I think setting the deadline of tonight was always going to make today about the negotiations, and that, of course, is what has happened. Um, and as I understand it, Mexico has said that they have struck a deal with Trump to delay the tariffs for a month, and apparently Trump is going to be talking to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau here again this afternoon and see what they can come up with. So, uh, great. Uh, it was, I assume that this kind of thing is going to keep happening where he makes a threat. And then, of course, just like any good reality TV show, there's interventions and everything ends up, uh, being okay or whatever. So, that in the meantime this weekend, unbelievable stories of Musk uh with unknown power. And this is the part that really confuses me, and I have I wish we had eyewitnesses in the room where these places where these things were happening. But what I'm talking about is particularly on Friday, I think it was, with Musk's minions, these led apparently by a cabal of young uh, men in their early 20s, even late teens, being dispatched around to critical government agencies to suck out data on almost every single American, and to take control of the, they call them the spigots of American government financing funding. And it is outrageous. So on Friday, the story was, the very, very concerning story at Treasury, where the guy who had been who had worked as a career civil servant for decades into the position of being, one of the few people who had eyes on the government payment systems being forced out, and Trump or Musk taking control of that data and that information, and being able to turn off, it looks like, spigots of funding at will. Absolutely, absolutely outrageous and terrifying. Terrifying. I don't like that word, but worrying doesn't seem to do it. It's shocking. It is outrageous, outrageous that a private citizen, even the richest man in the world, would be able to have that kind of power. And then what? But then the story that grew over the weekend was these interrelated stories of the really shocking and inhumane uh, foreign assistance funding issue, where what's happened is that there was a foreign assistance, is a low hanging target, and funding has been stopped, and it in a way that is completely illegal. The foreign assistance funding was authorized and put into law by Congress, signed by the president, and now Trump is just saying no, and Musk is saying no, we're not doing that. And but combined with that was a showdown yesterday at the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, where the security chiefs were forced out and forced to give access to Musk's minions to classified information. Um, and again, just they were allowed to enter the building and to take physical control of spaces within that building that they should not have had access to. Um, and the administration blithely says, well, they have security clearances, which mean nothing, because there is no way that these people could have been properly vetted in such a short period of time by the FBI, which is itself under attack, and is a huge story today about how the FBI is fighting back against FBI agents are fighting back against illegal termination. Um, what to go into the foreign assistance thing a little bit. and what's happening at USAID, this is obviously very close to my heart, given my background in international humanitarian relief and advocacy. Um, I, as I explained in my first video, I was a Peace Corps volunteer for 5 years, and that got me into the field of public health. After earning a master's degree in public health, I went back overseas and worked for nonprofits, these NGOs that now have had their U.S. funding stopped and turned off. The International Rescue Committee, I worked for them for a few years in Cambodia and Azerbaijan and Burundi and Oxfam, Great Britain, the British charity. I worked for them in Burundi and Eastern Congo. Um, and even though I never worked for USA, definitely have friends who have worked for them and who are affected by this. Amazing people who have poured their life into helping others terminate. They're sacked because they're contractors and they've been let go, and all that expertise and more importantly, that humanitarian impulse, squashed for now. And the issue is what's so crazy on the humanitarian assistance side is that this is such a cost-effective way to not only respond to dire humanitarian emergencies around the world, but also build up soft American power. The budget savings are not the point here. The budget savings are minuscule compared to what the U.S. government spends. It is just low hanging fruit that conservatives have railed against for years, just to make a point that, to answer this inane question, well, why are we sending money overseas when there's so many problems here at home? That is not the point. There is more than enough United States funding and capacity to do both. And it is our obligation as the world's biggest economy with the world's most powerful military to help people in need around the world. Uh, and we have been doing it. Now, foreign aid is far from perfect, and there's a lot of things that we could do better. But freezing the funding, and gutting the main U.S. agency that is tasked by law to carry out these objectives of the United States is not the way to do it. The agency in question is the U.S. Agency for International Development, which is the agency that sends out money appropriated by Congress for foreign assistance, including food assistance, and this, a somewhat obscure U.S. agency being targeted like this, it is low hanging fruit for Musk and for Trump. Easy to check the box for their supporters of saying, look, we've stopped wasting money abroad, and they can take the win and move on, leaving the wreckage behind. What's emerging is Musk's insanity, Musk's psychosis towards groups like USAID that have been tasked by Congress, money appropriated by Congress, to promote democracy and human and civil rights around the world, and to authoritarians like Musk with delusions of being the emperor of the world. That kind of thing is anathema. And then you connect the dots on the level of South Africa, which is where Musk grew up, and how USAID in South Africa did promote civil society that allowed Nelson Mandela to emerge from prison and to end apartheid and bring South Africa into the community of nations and free an entire country that was being crushed under an authoritarian regime. And it seems like that's what all this is. And it is no way to run a government. Not to mention that I think that it's shocking and worthy of our outrage. There is a path to stop this because it is a legally established agency, and you there's a case to be made that you cannot just shut it down. So fingers crossed that there will be some legal action to stop Musk from doing this. The bigger issue, as far as I'm concerned, is we have very quickly pivoted in 1 week from, okay, how do we stop Trump from freezing funding, across the board, to what do we do about Musk? And this constitutional crisis is coming to a head now in this particular question. The world's richest man spent, I think the latest estimate is $288 million in the US presidential election to sway that election to the candidate of his choice, and has been rewarded with unfettered access to the data and the data and the funding streams, control over the funding streams of the United States government. It is outrageous. He must be stopped. Musk must be stopped. What is insane is that Congress still theoretically has power here to do something, because Congress has the power of the purse, and the United States is paying Musk millions, billions of dollars, even for government contracts. And he is doing things that are illegal. He also controls a powerful and obnoxious social media platform, the former Twitter. And I would assume that politicians politicians are concerned that crossing Musk publicly would lead him to focus a social media platform on them, make life unpleasant for them. I really can't imagine what that's like. Um, it, I'm not sure that that's the point. Our elected leaders were elected to lead and to protect us and to protect our Constitution. They take an oath to that effect, and I wish they would do it. This is Musk is getting out of control, and he has to be stopped. And this gets to something that's been pretty frustrating for this last week or so, and that's the issue of democratic messaging. My goodness. The so just from the cheap seats, what I seem to see is that national Democrats, and what I'm looking at is people like Senator Chuck Schumer, the minority leader in the U.S. Senate, and Leader Hakeem Jeffries, an amazing leader, the minority leader, Democratic leader in the U.S. House, plus individual senators, plus I think democratic messaging on the state level that the polling has come out that says for Trump voters who won the election, that their top issues were inflation and higher prices and the economy, and that they don't trust Democrats on those issues, and they don't think that Democrats care about those issues, and that all we care about is that the smear is that all we care about are like trans rights and identity politics, and the smear against Kamala Harris, that she was for they them, and Trump is for you, which is just absolute bullshit. Uh, that so there's this perception, and so Democrats look at this polling and they say, oh my gosh, we are the party of working people, we are the party of using government to make life better for everybody, to lower cost on prescription drugs, to do everything we can to raise wages and bring prices down, to to make life better for the average American. How can this be? Well, look, The idea, what that polling shows is that Trump voters were saying, the economy is our biggest issue, prices are the biggest issue. That is so because that is what they were told through this diffuse, monstrous propaganda machine that Musk and other right-wing nuts control. And so, what was going to be interesting about the tariffs is that if the tariffs go through, or when the tariffs go through and prices start to rise, you will see that polling change from the most important, from what it was during the election to, oh, the most important issue is these prices and inflation, and that priority will change to the most important issue is Democrats thwarting the president's agenda, or other countries not respecting the United States, or whatever it is. That polling will shift to new so-called priorities for Trump voters, because that's how the propaganda works. The higher prices that are inevitable, and the economic pain that is inevitable under Trump's tariffs plan, will be seen as a moment of sacrifice for the American people, to support a sacrifice that the American people have to make, so that Donald Trump can, quote unquote, make America great again. And it is going to be Orwellian in its scope. So the problem with Democrats chasing after this polling that shows Trump voters worried about prices, which everybody's worried about prices, but focusing singularly on that. If I see one more social media post saying, oh, you know, Trump tariffs are not going to do anything about the price of eggs, for crying out loud, it is not about the price of eggs. If Trump says that they have to accept it, they will accept it. The point is that Trump is destroying our country, and he's being helped by this psychotic Musk, who is running amok inside of our government. A constitutional crisis, an economic crisis, human rights crisis, a crisis of international peace and security. This is the point, and this is why the messaging has to be standing up for our freedom and our democracy and our Constitution, because those are the real issues. Those are the bigger issues. Everything else hinges on that. And what's wild to me about this is that the one thing that I think voters have been very, very clear on is that they want their politicians, they want their leaders to just be normal and tell us the truth. Tell us the truth about what's happening. And I do not feel that Democrats are doing this right now. They are sort of hiding, or like somehow trying to show that they care about everyday concerns, about higher prices. And that's great. But everybody who's paying any kind of attention right now in America knows that something is not right. Knows that this is a crazy, unsettling time. Some people, Trump supporters, are ecstatic about it. But the rest of us who are not diehard Trump supporters, this is crazy. And so for Democratic leaders, for our elected leaders, to just get out there and be like, well, we're just going to let this blow over. It's no big deal. We'll pick our battles. This isn't doing anything to bring down egg prices. So, we're just going to wait until the economic pain is great enough that people turn against Trump. Look, around messaging, people have been consistent. They want their politicians to be real. And what's nuts is that I can guarantee that my Democratic friends and Democratic elected leaders are personally deeply worried about what's going on. And to not be clear about that, to not open up about that, to pretend that you're not, is to me crazy. People can sense it. They can sense that you're not being real. And it just turns people off. You don't have to be there now. You don't have to be out there like me, screaming with my hair on fire, bloody murder about this. But what I'm talking about is just being honest about your own worries and concerns as a parent, as a person, as an American, as a public servant. Some people you've poured yourself, you've sacrificed in the name of public service, and what is happening is outrageous, unprecedented. It is crazy that someone like Elon Musk can get into the bowels of our government and start ripping it apart. Give me a break. Give me a break. Yes, people want to know that you're doing something instead of just standing by, or wringing your hands, or talking about the price of eggs. I cannot urge my Democratic friends and Democratic leaders to be real and to do more. I saw, on the state level, I saw a fantastic idea just right before I got on, where someone was like, all right, state legislators, this is what you need to do. You need to introduce legislation banning businesses from operating in your state owned by people who are engaged in illegal activities against the United States, like, I don't know, Elon Musk. And there are Tesla dealerships in Ohio, and they should not be allowed to operate because of what their owner is doing to the United States government on a federal level. Now, unfortunately, my two senators are both Republicans who both seem perfectly willing to let Trump and Musk do whatever they want. How they don't think that this is going to come around and bite them in the ass personally, I don't know. I guess they figure they'll be able to ride it out. But luckily I do. My Congresswoman Joyce Beatty has been speaking out quite clearly on what's been happening. The senators in particular, though, and the Senate do have power to really slow things down, and they must. Musk has to be stopped. Back in the first Trump administration, the real bomb thrower was Steve Bannon. And after a little while, not too long of a while, he was out. The same thing has to happen. Musk must be stopped. He is an incredibly dangerous threat to our constitutional order and to our freedoms and to our government. He has got to be stopped. And, I don't have any illusions that very many people listen to this. Our wonderful, wonderful Senator Sherrod Brown, who, the fact that Ohio voters chose an experienced clown like Bernie Moreno over somebody as experienced and dedicated to Sherrod Brown is a tragedy. I would hope and would pray that Sherrod is using his relationships with his ex-colleagues in the Senate to urge them to take stronger action to stop Musk. So we'll see what happens this week. There is this protest on Wednesday. I hope that it's huge. I hope that it's nationwide. I hope that the message is clear that everybody has to do what they can to stop Musk and to tamp down the chaos. This really is an outrage. Stop doing illegal, immoral things and to settle the fuck down. So fingers crossed, that's what we'll get. Who knows? But I guess we'll see. All right. I appreciate your comments and feedback. And I will see you out there on Wednesday. All right, everybody. Thanks.